Welcome back to another 50-question CSCS mock test. These are realistic practice questions to help you prepare for the CITB test and your Level 1 qualification. If you want extra support or to take your Level 1 online, links are in the description. Let's jump straight into question 1. Question 1. Why must flammable liquids be stored in a designated fire-resistant cabinet? A. To reduce fire risk and prevent ignition sources from reaching them. B. To prevent the smell from affecting workers. C. To keep them at a stable temperature. D. To make them easier to find. The correct answer is A. To reduce fire risk and prevent ignition sources from reaching them. Question 2. Why must workers avoid standing directly behind reversing vehicles? A. To reduce stress on drivers. B. Because reversing alarms may be loud. C. Because the rear blind spot is the largest area the driver cannot see. D. To prevent mud splash. The correct answer is C. Because the rear blind spot is the largest area the driver cannot see. Question 3. Why is lone working often considered high risk on construction sites? A. Because lone workers cannot use powered tools. B. Because emergencies or injuries may not be detected quickly. C. Because lone workers take fewer breaks. D. Because it reduces overall productivity on site. The correct answer is B. Because emergencies or injuries may not be detected quickly. Question 4. What must be done before breaking ground with mechanical or powered excavation tools? A. All workers must complete an excavation training course. B. A first aid kit must be placed nearby. C. A lifting plan must be prepared by a supervisor. D. A permit to dig must be issued and services must be located. The correct answer is D. A permit to dig must be issued and services must be located. Question 5. What is the risk of connecting multiple high-load appliances to a single 110-volt transformer? A. It may reduce power output to nearby tools. B. The transformer may overload and fail. C. The plugs may become difficult to disconnect. D. The cables may warm slightly. The correct answer is B. The transformer may overload and fail. Question 6. Why is it unsafe to use makeshift platforms or improvised scaffolding? A. Because they require more time to assemble. B. Because they may not support the intended load. C. Because they are dangerous for new workers. D. Because they make the site look unprofessional to visitors. The correct answer is B. Because they may not support the intended load. Question 7. Why must tires on site vehicles be checked regularly? A. To reduce the noise created when the vehicle moves. B. To avoid damaging the paintwork on site roads. C. To keep the vehicle looking clean during inspections. D. To ensure safe braking, stability, and effective load handling. The correct answer is D. To ensure safe braking, stability, and effective load handling. Question 8. Why must plant operators complete daily pre-use checks? A. To learn how the machine works. B. To reduce operator fatigue. C. To comply with environmental legislation. D. To ensure the machine is safe and detect defects early. The correct answer is D. To ensure the machine is safe and detect defects early. Question 9. Why must site plans show underground services clearly? A. To calculate ground levels. B. To help plan deliveries. C. To prevent accidental strikes when excavating. D. To identify drainage flow directions. The correct answer is C. To prevent accidental strikes when excavating. Question 10. What is the purpose of asbestos awareness training? A. To replace a license. B. To train workers to remove asbestos. C. To certify demolition contractors. D. To help workers avoid disturbing asbestos. The correct answer is D. To help workers avoid disturbing asbestos. Question 11. Why is it unsafe to walk on roof panels that are marked as non-load bearing? A. Because they may dent and need replacing. B. Because they may not support a person's weight and could give way. C. Because they may interfere with roof insulation. D. Because they can feel slippery even in dry weather. The correct answer is B, because they may not support a person's weight and could give way. Question 12. Why is regular housekeeping essential on construction sites? A. To maintain a professional appearance. B. To reduce slips, trips, fire risks, and obstructions. C. To help locate tools quickly. D. To protect equipment from rain. The correct answer is B. To reduce slips, trips, fire risks, and obstructions. Question 13. Why must workers never refuel diesel plant while the engine is still running? A. Because heat or static could ignite the fuel. B. Because it makes reading the fuel gauge inaccurate. C. Because it may waste fuel due to splashing. D. Because it may confuse the onboard fuel monitor. The correct answer is A. Because heat or static could ignite the fuel. Question 14. Why is it unsafe to rely solely on visual checks when confirming a cable is dead before cutting it? A. Because the cable could be buried deeper than expected. B. Because the insulation color may have faded over time. C. Because a cable can still be live even if it appears undamaged. D. Because the cable might be carrying low voltage power only. The correct answer is C. Because a cable can still be live even if it appears undamaged. Question 15. Why is silica dust particularly dangerous? A. Because it can cause chronic, irreversible lung disease. B. Because it is heavier than other dust and settles quickly. C. Because it causes temporary shortness of breath. D. Because it mainly irritates the skin and eyes. The correct answer is A. Because it can cause chronic, irreversible lung disease. Question 16. What should you do if you see smoke coming from electrical equipment? A. Turn off the power if safe and report it. B. Continue using the equipment. C. Ignore it if it stops quickly. D. Pour water on it. The correct answer is A. Turn off the power if safe and report it. Question 17. What is the danger of working near suspended scaffolding platforms during raising or lowering? A. Because the platform may sway and cause dust to fall. B. Because the platform can trap, crush, or strike nearby workers. C. Because workers may be distracted by the movement. D. Because the noise from motors may drown out warnings. The correct answer is B. Because the platform can trap, crush, or strike nearby workers. Question 18. A COSH assessment is required for which of the following? A. Any substance that could be hazardous to health when used or created. B. Substances that workers complain about regularly. C. Only chemicals that have warning labels on the container. D. Only liquids that can cause burns or irritation. The correct answer is A. Any substance that could be hazardous to health when used or created. Question 19. Why must uncontrolled tipping of spoil from a dumper be avoided near the edge of an excavation? A. Because it creates dust clouds that reduce visibility. B. Because it may block access ladders. C. Because it may cause the dumper to bounce on landing. D. Because the weight could cause the edge to collapse. The correct answer is D. Because the weight could cause the edge to collapse. Question 20. What is the main risk of using a breaker on a floor slab without first confirming what lies beneath it? A. Striking hidden services such as gas or electric lines. B. Generating extra vibration that slows progress. C. Causing small cosmetic cracks in nearby surfaces. D. Creating additional dust that requires more cleanup. The correct answer is A. Striking hidden services such as gas or electric lines. Question 21. Why should extension leads not be used while still coiled? A. Because they become harder to store afterwards. B. Because they increase the risk of tripping over the cable. C. Because they prevent tools from receiving full power. D. Because they can overheat and create a fire hazard. The correct answer is D. Because they can overheat and create a fire hazard. Question 22. Why should ladders extend above the landing point when used for access? A. To provide a secure handhold when stepping off. B. To support heavier loads. C. To increase stability on the ground. D. To prevent ladder damage. The correct answer is A, to provide a secure handhold when stepping off. Question 23. Where is the safest place to stand when observing a lifting operation? A, underneath the load so it is fully visible. B, in a designated exclusion zone away from the load path. C, as close as possible to guide the load by hand. D, directly behind the crane operator for clear communication. The correct answer is B, in a designated exclusion zone away from the load path. Question 24. Before using a scaffold, workers check the scaffold tag. What must it show? A, the brand and model of scaffold parts. B, that the scaffold has been inspected and is safe to use. C, the maximum number of workers allowed. D, the names of those who erected it. The correct answer is B, that the scaffold has been inspected and is safe to use. Question 25. Why must workers avoid walking over freshly poured concrete? A, because it may compromise structural integrity. B, because it may cause small marks that are visible after curing. C, because it may reduce the concrete's ability to reach design strength quickly. D, because it may create uneven curing patterns requiring surface grinding. The correct answer is A, because it may compromise structural integrity. Question 26. What is the primary danger of using lifting strops that have been exposed to strong acids or chemicals? A, because chemical exposure weakens fibers, causing sudden failure. B, because they may become difficult to thread through lifting eyes. C, because they may become too stiff to handle. D, because they may stain hands or gloves. The correct answer is A, because chemical exposure weakens fibers, causing sudden failure. Question 27. Hot works are taking place near combustible insulation. What additional control is essential? A, verbal warnings are issued to nearby workers. B, a fire watch is provided and materials are protected or removed. C, lighting levels are increased. D, welding time is reduced. The correct answer is B, a fire watch is provided and materials are protected or removed. Question 28. Why must cement dust exposures be controlled? A, because it reduces color consistency. B, because it causes mild irritation only. C, because fine cement particles can burn skin and damage lungs. D, because it is needed to avoid skin softening. The correct answer is C, because fine cement particles can burn skin and damage lungs. Question 29. You must move a long steel beam that blocks your forward view. What is the safest option? A, the beam is carried at a lower height. B, two operatives carry the beam without further controls. C, mechanical assistance or a controlled team lift is used. D, the beam is moved quickly to reduce exposure time. The correct answer is C, mechanical assistance or a controlled team lift is used. Question 30. Why must excavation edges be clearly marked or protected? A, to prevent vehicles entering. B, to mark storage areas. C, to reduce collapse risk. D, to prevent people falling in. The correct answer is D, to prevent people falling in. Question 31. When using high-pressure washers, what is the biggest risk if used incorrectly? A, causing injection injuries to the skin. B, creating minor puddles that inconvenience workers. C, overspraying water onto nearby vehicles or tools. D, damaging delicate masonry or protective coatings. The correct answer is A, causing injection injuries to the skin. Question 32. What should you do if you find an unlabeled container holding an unknown liquid? A, pour it away to avoid confusion. B, smell it to help identify what it is. C, report it immediately and do not use it. D, shake the container to check how thick it is. The correct answer is C, report it immediately and do not use it. Question 33. A crane operates near overhead power lines but does not touch them. Why is this still dangerous? A, because traffic visibility may be reduced. B, because the load may move in the wind. C, because electricity may arc across an air gap. D, because the lines may expand in heat. The correct answer is C, because electricity may arc across an air gap. Question 34. Why must plant operators avoid turning tracked machines with one track locked? A, because it risks the machine tipping or stressing the frame. B, because it causes unnecessary wear on hydraulic lines. C, because it increases fuel use. D, because it may damage the track drive motors. The correct answer is A, because it risks the machine tipping or stressing the frame. Question 35. What is the main purpose of edge protection around elevated work areas? A, to help mark pedestrian routes around the site. B, to store tools securely during work. C, to support temporary lighting installations. D, to prevent people or materials from falling from height. The correct answer is D, to prevent people or materials from falling from height. Question 36. Why should workers avoid passing tools hand to hand when working at height? A, because it slows down workflow. B, because it interrupts communication between workers. C, because a dropped tool can cause serious injury to people below. D, because tools may become greasy from frequent handling. The correct answer is C, because a dropped tool can cause serious injury to people below. Question 37. Why must workers avoid blocking fire escape routes? A, to make inspections go smoothly. B, to reduce clutter on site. C, to prevent damage to stored materials. D, to ensure a safe and fast evacuation during an emergency. The correct answer is D, to ensure a safe and fast evacuation during an emergency. Question 38. What is the most important principle for working safely on a construction site? A, work as quickly as possible. B, avoid all manual work. C, follow training, procedures, and safety rules. D, rely on personal judgment only. The correct answer is C, follow training, procedures, and safety rules. Question 39. Why must workers avoid using a damaged scaffold board? A, because it makes walking uncomfortable. B, because it may be the wrong size. C, because it may be difficult to paint. D, because the damaged board can snap under load. The correct answer is D, because the damaged board can snap under load. Question 40. Why must exclusion zones be established around slewing plant? A, to keep pedestrian routes away from noisy equipment. B, to keep people out of the striking radius. C, to help operators plan fuel stops more accurately. D, to reduce airborne dust caused by machine movement. The correct answer is B, to keep people out of the striking radius. Question 41. What should be done with a scaffold board that has a visible split or crack? A, remove it from service immediately. B, nail it in place so the crack cannot spread. C, use it only for light work. D, turn it upside down. The correct answer is A, remove it from service immediately. Question 42. Why are wet or damp conditions especially dangerous when using electrical equipment? A, because water decreases the lifespan of electrical cables. B, because tools become heavier and harder to carry. C, because it makes it easier to see indicator lights. D, because water increases the risk of electric shock. The correct answer is D, because water increases the risk of electric shock. Question 43. Why must trip hazards be removed immediately on a construction site? A, to reduce clutter only. B, to reduce risk of injury. C, to comply with environmental rules. D, to make supervision easier. The correct answer is B, to reduce risk of injury. Question 44. While carrying out refurbishment work, you disturb a panel that may contain asbestos and see dust in the air. What should you do? A, sweep up the dust so it settles. B, continue working but avoid the area. C, stop work immediately, leave the area, and report it to your supervisor. D, wet the panel and bag the waste immediately. The correct answer is C, Stop work immediately, leave the area, and report it to your supervisor. Question 45. Why is it important to use the correct disc type on an angle grinder? A. To protect the tool from dust. B. To improve the color of the sparks. C. To match the tool's speed rating and avoid disc failure. D. To reduce vibration when cutting. The correct answer is C. To match the tool's speed rating and avoid disc failure. Question 46. The controls on a mobile elevated work platform fail while the operator is elevated. What is the purpose of the emergency descent system? A. To stabilize the work platform in high winds. B. To increase the maximum height of the work platform. C. To help the operator climb into the basket. D. To safely lower the platform when the main controls stop working. The correct answer is D. To safely lower the platform when the main controls stop working. Question 47. Why should electrical cables be kept off wet ground where possible? A. To reduce cable wear. B. To prevent electric shock risk. C. To make them easier to see. D. To improve power supply. The correct answer is B. To prevent electric shock risk. Question 48. Why must guards be fitted on belt-driven machinery? A. To protect workers from entanglement. B. To reduce noise levels. C. To improve belt lubrication. D. To prevent the machine overheating and catching fire. The correct answer is A. To protect workers from entanglement. Question 49. Why should lifting equipment have safe working load markings? A. To identify inspection dates. B. To indicate the maximum load it can safely lift. C. To improve lifting speed. D. To identify the manufacturer. The correct answer is B. To indicate the maximum load it can safely lift. Question 50. Why must emergency stop buttons on machinery remain unobstructed? A. To avoid accidental use. B. To improve machine appearance. C. To ensure they can be accessed instantly in an emergency. D. To keep workers alert. The correct answer is C. To ensure they can be accessed instantly in an emergency. Thanks for watching. If you scored 45 out of 50, you're on track. If you still need your level 1 qualification or want help getting your green card sorted, visit our website. There's a link in the description.